1 Peter 5, 1 through 4. The elders which are among you I exhort, who am also an elder, and a witness of the sufferings of Christ, and also a partaker of the glory that shall be revealed. Feed the flock of God which is among you, taking the oversight thereof, not by constraint, but willingly, not for filthy lucre, but of a ready mind. Neither as being lords over God's heritage, but being examples to the flock. And when the chief shepherd shall appear, ye shall receive a crown of glory that fadeth not away. The fourth crown, or Staphanos, is one of taking care of the church in a specific office. The elders referred to here by context means those who preside over the assemblies. They are also referred to as bishops and overseers in other places. It is a special office ordained by God that is modeled for us as something in heaven. There are 24 members in this position mentioned in Revelation. There are specific qualifications for this office found in Titus 1, 5 through 9. An earthly model of a heavenly court. It's not something to be taken lightly. The elders have already been given a heavy responsibility of looking out for the church. They are given an extra set of instructions here, however. Not by constraint, but willingly. This crown requires that the elder not be there because they have to or feel obligated. Today, many people will say, if asked to perform a task, if you need me to, and then they let it trail away. These elders did not accept the position because they were needed, but because, like Isaiah, they said, "Here am I, send me." That was in Isaiah 6:8. The position was offered, but there was no hesitation. It was asked of them, and they said, "I will." It also requires that they not be there for filthy lucre, but of a ready mind. This is actually a reinforcement of the phrase, not by constraint, but willingly. It has nothing to do with money as we think of lucre. It is a base gain of any kind, not for gain of respect, not for gain of money, or even attention. It is a pure, voluntary eagerness to serve. It then requires one last thing from the elder. Neither as being lords of God's heritage, but being examples to the flock. In far too many instances, politics comes into play in a church. Person A is a deacon, so everybody does what they say. I personally grew up in a church where everyone voted as basically two people did. It eventually led to one split and then another and then another. It's not a position for showing people how to act. If a motion is made and it is wrong, these selected people should stand up and prove it wrong. Show in the Bible where God gave us a command, then stand for that command to be our example. This is another reason why when you're called to ministry or to be a deacon, pray about it first. The position is one of seriousness, and it has very, very high qualifications that we are told to follow. James 1:12 is where the last crown or Staphanos can be found. It says, "Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, because having stood the test, that person will receive the crown or Staphanos of life, that the Lord has promised to those who love him." The final crown is a crown of perseverance. Sure, Ephesians 6:11-13 states to put on the full armor of God so that you will be able to stand firm against the schemes of the devil. For our struggles are not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the powers, against the world forces of this darkness, against the spiritual forces of wickedness in the heavenly places. Therefore, take up the full armor of God so that you will be able to resist in the evil day, and having done everything to stand firm. And sadly, many people stop there. The devil made me do it is too often an excuse. Maybe the first time we yield to a vice, that is the truth. Maybe not. Perhaps a person planted the temptation there and we yielded to it. After all, 1 John 2 contains, "For all that is in the world, the desires of the flesh and the desires of the eyes and pride in possessions is not from the Father, but from the world." The world contains desires of the flesh. Remember, Satan isn't omnipresent. He can't be everywhere at once. So the devil may not have made you do it. It may have come from within in our own fleshly nature. Humans sin. It's simple as that. we have a sin nature. The devil doesn't have to do anything. In fact, he has no power. Christ came as a sinless man and stood against the devil's temptations. Hebrews 4:15 says Jesus was tempted like as we were, yet sinless. He wasn't purely a man. He didn't have our sin nature. So does the devil have the power to make us sin? No. But people do use that Christ wasn't purely a man to argue that. So let's use another example. Adam and Eve. Did the devil make Adam and Eve sin? No, they chose to eat the apple. Sadly, even in the end times, Christ will reign on earth and people will still turn away. It is our nature, not the devil, that causes us to falter in sin. That is what this crown refers to, our struggle against our flesh nature. We will be tempted. We will falter on our own. So how do we resist ourselves? Well, Psalms 119, 9-11 says, Wherewithal shall a young man cleanse his way? By taking heed thereto according to thy word. With my whole heart have I sought thee. O let me not wander from thy commandments. Thy word have I hid in my heart, that I might not sin against thee. It isn't anything of our doing. It is by putting God's word in our lives that we may face our own temptations. As Jesus told his disciples concerning salvation, with a man it is impossible, but with God all things are possible. As the wristbands of Frog used to remind us, fully rely on God.